Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Gene Kelly, the athletic visionary who redefined dance on film. Few performers have imprinted themselves on the history of cinema as vividly as Gene Kelly. Actor, director, choreographer, dancer, and unwavering innovator, Kelly reshaped the musical film with a buoyant mix of athletic grace, cinematic imagination, and a decidedly American spirit. To watch him glide, leap, tap, and whirl across the screen is to see a man who believed motion itself could be an expression of joy. Early life: a Pittsburgh boy with big ambitions, born Eugene Curran Kelly on August 23, 1912. In Pittsburgh, Kelly grew up in a working-class family where dance wasn't an obvious career path. Initially more interested in sports than ballet shoes, he played hockey and baseball with gusto. But dance, first studied reluctantly, soon revealed itself as his true gift. He and his siblings opened the Gene Kelly Studio of the Dance, proving he was as skilled a teacher as he was a performer. Broadway breakthroughs: Kelly's raw magnetism quickly drew attention. After relocating to New York, he landed roles in Broadway productions, most notably Pal Joey, 1940, where his charismatic physicality and swagger turned heads. Unlike the elegant, formalized style popular on stage, Kelly's choreography brought a grounded, modern, muscular dimension to dance, something audiences hadn't seen before. Hollywood Calls Hollywood took notice, and by the 1940s, Kelly had a contract with MGM. His early films, such as For Me and My Gal, 1942, showcased his warmth and easy screen presence. But it didn't take long for Kelly to push boundaries, blending dance with daring innovation. In Anchors Aweigh, 1945, he famously danced with a cartoon mouse, merging animation and live performance in a way that felt magical and new. On the Town, 1949, which he co-directed with Stanley Donen, became one of the first musicals to be shot on location in New York City, opening the genre to real-world energy. The masterpiece, Singin' in the Rain. If Kelly contributed only one film to cinema, Singin' in the Rain, 1952, would still make him immortal. His performance of the title number, Soaking Wet, Grinning, Splashing with Abandon, has become a symbol of pure movie joy. Behind the effortless charm was extraordinary technical skill and creative intelligence. The sequence remains one of the most celebrated scenes in film history. The film also cemented Kelly's reputation as a visionary director. With Donen, he helped craft a film whose narrative wit, choreographic brilliance, and dazzling visual flair made it an enduring classic. A revolutionary approach to dance: Kelly believed dance should be accessible, rooted in everyday movement, and expressive of emotion rather than technique alone. His innovations included athletic, powerful choreography inspired by sports and American life, the use of the camera as an active dance partner, storytelling through movement rather than dialogue, integration of ballet, jazz, tap, and modern dance into cohesive film language. His style contrasted with the elegant sophistication of contemporaries like Fred Astaire. Kelly celebrated exuberance, youth, and vitality. He leapt high, swung wide, and brought a sense of democratic optimism to the musical. Later career and legacy: though the Hollywood musical declined in the 1960s, Kelly continued to direct, choreograph, and appear in films and television specials. His work on An American in Paris, 1951, earned the film multiple Oscars and showcased his ambitious ballet sequence. Nearly 20 minutes of breathtaking artistry. Throughout his life, Kelly also mentored younger dancers, advocated for arts education, and safeguarded the heritage of dance on film. He passed away on February 2, 1996, but his legacy remains vibrant. Gene Kelly didn't just dance, he reimagined what dance could be. His films continue to inspire performers, choreographers, filmmakers, and audiences who find, in his boundless movement, a reminder that joy can be cinematic. The art of making dance cinematic. Gene Kelly didn't merely perform choreography, he understood how film could elevate movement. He treated the camera as if it were another dancer in the scene. Instead of filming dance from a static, theatrical viewpoint, he choreographed shots to glide, spin, and lift with him. Some of his most influential cinematic techniques included long takes to preserve the integrity of the choreography, smooth tracking shots that followed the line of his movement, integration of props, from newspapers to mops, to turn ordinary objects into instruments of performance, use of space to create dynamic transitions between sets, such as alleyways, living rooms, and city streets. These stylistic choices help define the modern musical, fluid, immersive, and rooted in storytelling. A visionary collaborator, Kelly's creativity thrived through collaboration. His partnership with Stanley Donen remains one of the most significant in Hollywood musical history. Together, they forged a style that blended theatrical dance, narrative cinema, and innovative camera work. Working with composers, costume designers, and set builders, Kelly also insisted on practicality. Costumes had to move, sets had to accommodate wide leaps, lighting had to follow rhythm. He respected every person on the production floor, a reputation that earned him lifelong loyalty from cast and crew. His distinct acting style. Gene Kelly brought a relatable, everyman quality to his characters. Unlike many musical stars of the era who embraced sophistication or aristocratic charm, Kelly played soldiers, sailors, writers, artists, working-class dreamers. His persona was approachable, warm, and confident, making him beloved across generations. Whether romancing a partner on a Parisian street or joking with fellow sailors in a bustling city, his charisma radiated without pretense. Personal life and philosophy behind the vibrant on-screen personality was a disciplined artist. Kelly was known for his perfectionism, sometimes intense, always driven by a desire for authenticity and excellence. He believed dance should speak to universal emotions and reveal the soul of a character. He married 3 times, most famously to actress and dancer Betsy Blair, with whom he had 1 daughter. Blair later became a celebrated actor in her own right. Kelly's personal life was marked by deep friendships, loyalty, and a quiet devotion to his children. Champion of the arts and education. Later in life, Kelly became a passionate advocate for arts education. He appeared in documentaries, taught masterclasses, and preserved the choreographic archives of Hollywood's golden age. He also hosted dance programs that introduced young audiences to the history of movement in film and theater. Later work and influence. Even as the era of big musicals faded, Kelly remained active. He directed musical sequences for television specials in the 1960s and 70s. He made guest appearances on talk shows and variety shows. He consulted on dance-related productions, sharing his insight with contemporary performers. Many modern choreographers, from Broadway artists to pop culture icons, cite Kelly as a major influence. His athletic, expressive style inspired countless performers, including Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Hugh Jackman. Broadway choreographers such as Jerome Robbins and Twyla Tharp. His DNA is everywhere in modern film, musicals, music videos, and stage productions. A legacy that continues to shine. Gene Kelly's contributions to cinema made him more than a star. He became a foundational figure in the language of film dance. His work remains timeless because it speaks to something universal: joy, movement, and the exhilaration of being alive. To watch Gene Kelly dance is to witness a man who believed in the power of creativity. His artistry remains a benchmark of beauty, innovation, and heart. Gene Kelly, a deeper portrait of a Hollywood icon before stardom. Kelly the teacher. Long before Gene Kelly dazzled filmgoers, he was shaping dancers in Pittsburgh. The Gene Kelly Studio of the Dance, operated by the Kelly family, produced hundreds of students. Kelly developed a teaching style that combined strict discipline with enthusiasm, a foreshadowing of his later artistic temperament. He also used this period to refine his understanding of movement. Teaching gave him insight into body mechanics, pacing, and how dancers learn to express emotion. These insights would later define his choreography's clarity and narrative power. Arrival in New York, a new kind of leading man. When Kelly arrived in New York in the late 1930s, Broadway was dominated by polished elegance. Kelly broke the mold. He brought athletic masculinity, modern, grounded footwork, a casual physicality that felt real and relatable. His breakout in Pal Joey made him a star. The role demanded charm, humor, sensuality, and movement, all of which Kelly delivered with confidence. Hollywood transformation. From dancer to auteur. When MGM recruited Kelly, he didn't simply adapt to Hollywood, he reshaped it. He took every opportunity to experiment with choreographic innovation, camera dancer interaction, musical storytelling. His early experiments culminated in a series of defining works that still set the standard for cinematic dance. The films that defined his genius: Anchors Aweigh, 1945. This film marked Kelly's emergence as a true innovator. The Dance with Jerry the Mouse became a sensation because Kelly insisted the animated character move with the grace of a real partner. It took months to coordinate, but the final sequence blended fantasy and dance in a way audiences had never seen. On the Town, 1949, co-directed with Stanley Donen. The film revolutionized the musical by filming on the real streets of New York. Kelly believed that dance should happen where life happens, not just on sets. The result was kinetic, authentic, and exhilarating. An American in Paris, 1951, the 18-minute ballet finale remains one of the most ambitious dance sequences in film history. Kelly choreographed the entire piece, a dream ballet blending Gershwin's music with impressionistic visual design. The film won multiple Oscars, including Best Picture. Singin' in the Rain, 1952, often cited as the greatest musical ever made. Kelly's famous rain sequence showcases pure joy, brilliant timing, masterful improvisation, emotional storytelling through movement behind the scenes. It required long hours, precise waterpipe spacing, and heavy lighting, yet the final product feels effortless. Brigadoon, 1954. Kelly starred in this fantasy romance musical with a softer, more lyrical tone. His performance emphasized expressive stillness, proving he was not only a dancer of motion but a dancer of emotion. Invitation to the Dance, 1956, an ambitious, dance-only film directed by Kelly, blending pantomime, classical ballet, modern dance, and animation. Though not a box office hit, it stands today as one of the most experimental dance films of its era. What made Gene Kelly's style unique? 1. The athletic American spirit. Kelly embraced a fluid, muscular style inspired by sports, working-class movement, and everyday gesture. He wanted his characters to feel like real people who just happened to dance beautifully. 2. Emotional storytelling. To Kelly, movement was a language. Every gesture should reveal character, intention, or emotional transformation. 3. Integration of dance and narrative. Unlike earlier musicals where dance felt like a performance break, Kelly believed dance should advance the plot. His choreography frequently occurs at key emotional turning points. 4. Collaboration with the camera. Kelly used camera movement to extend the dancer's lines, amplify motion, and make dance cinematic rather than theatrical. 5. Democratization of dance. He believed dance was for everyone, not just the elite. His work made dance accessible and relatable to mainstream audiences. Behind the scenes, perfectionism and passion. Kelly was famously meticulous. He often rehearsed dancers until dawn. He demanded technical excellence from himself and others. He believed choreography must be visually perfect from every angle. Some collaborators described him as tough but deeply respectful. He didn't demand perfection out of ego, he demanded it because he believed audiences deserved the best. Gene Kelly's influence across generations. Film directors. Kelly influenced filmmakers who rely heavily on movement, including Damien Chazelle, La La Land, Baz Luhrmann. Steven Spielberg. Choreographers and performers. His bold, expressive style shaped Broadway and pop culture. His influence is visible in Jerome Robbins, Twyla Tharp, Bob Fosse, who diverged from Kelly but built upon the era he helped define. Music videos from the 1980s onward. Modern musicals. Every film musical that blends story, emotion, and movement, from The Greatest Showman to La La Land, owes a debt to Kelly. A legacy cemented in joy in later years. Gene Kelly often spoke about joy, the emotion that radiates from his performances. He believed dance should uplift people and celebrate humanity. Kelly passed away in 1996, but his films are ageless. He remains one of the few performers whose work feels permanently fresh, vibrant, and alive. He didn't just entertain, he changed the art form. Gene Kelly, expanding the legacy of a cinematic revolutionary. The MGM era, a creative empire within a studio system. During the 1940s and 1950s, MGM was the undisputed powerhouse of the Hollywood musical. Yet even within that vast studio machine, Gene Kelly established a distinct creative kingdom. He wasn't simply a contracted star, he became an architect of MGM's musical identity. At the studio's famed Freed unit, overseen by producer Arthur Freed, Kelly worked alongside brilliant composers, writers, and directors. These included Stanley Donen, co-director and collaborator, Vincent Minnelli, director of An American in Paris, composers like George and Ira Gershwin, Roger Edens, and Nacio Herb Brown, screenwriters Betty Comden and Adolph Green. The Freed unit was a rare creative oasis where top talent collaborated freely. Kelly, with his relentless curiosity and choreographic ambition, thrived in this environment. His collaboration with Stanley Donen, a fusion of minds. Kelly and Donen's partnership is one of the most productive in musical history. Donen brought sharp cinematic instincts, Kelly brought movement, storytelling, and a physical vocabulary unlike any other. Together, they pioneered dynamic location shooting, used the camera as an active participant, blended comedy, romance, and dance with seamless fluidity, elevated the musical to a refined cinematic art form. Their creative visions sometimes clashed, Kelly's perfectionism versus Donen's cinematic pragmatism, but the tension pushed them toward innovation. The pursuit of innovation, a restless creative drive. Kelly was never complacent. He constantly asked, "What hasn't been done yet?" This mindset led to Dancing with Animation, Anchors Away, full-length dream ballets, An American in Paris, real-world dance on the streets, on the town, narrative dancing without dialogue, Invitation to the Dance. He wanted to expand the language of movement on film. And he did so relentlessly. Training actors to dance, training dancers to act. Kelly believed that dance on film required a hybrid artistry. He coached actors with no formal dance background and developed choreography tailored to their strengths. Simultaneously, he trained dancers to think like actors, not just performers. He used metaphor, storytelling, and emotional context in his instruction. Don't dance the steps, dance the feeling. What is your character thinking before each gesture? Movement is dialogue. His rehearsal rooms were environments of creative exploration. Even when discipline was intense. Personal struggles behind the camera. Though his films radiated joy, Kelly's journey wasn't without complications. He often faced resistance from studio executives who wanted safer, simpler musicals. His dedication to perfection affected his relationships at times. His political views, especially his support for civil rights and progressive causes, drew scrutiny during the McCarthy era, affecting his career momentum. Despite these challenges, he continued to create, teach, and innovate. Choreographic philosophy. The democratization of dance. Kelly's style was intentionally American, neither European ballet nor classical Broadway. It celebrated the everyday individual. He once described dance as a celebration of what the human body can do, a physical expression of optimism, an extension of ordinary gesture into extraordinary motion. This belief shaped his own movement style. Large, swinging arms, wide strides, and explosive jumps, grounded tap sequences, naturalistic transitions into dance, playful use of props and architecture. He wanted audiences to believe that they, too, could dance, that magic could emerge from the mundane. The women in his films, partners, not props. Kelly insisted that his female co-stars be portrayed as strong, talented equals, a progressive stance in Hollywood's golden age. Some of his most dynamic partnerships included Sid Charisse, statuesque, powerful, sensual Debbie Reynolds, fresh, eager, quick to learn under intense pressure Judy Garland, emotionally expressive, with innate musical intuition Leslie Caron, a trained ballerina whose fluidity complemented Kelly's grounded style. Kelly expected demanding precision from his partners, but he also recognized and nurtured their unique strengths. How Gene Kelly changed the musical forever. Kelly's impact goes beyond specific films. He altered the trajectory of the musical as a genre. He made dance integral to narrative cinema. He gave dance a modern, American identity. He expanded the technical vocabulary of film choreography. He democratized dance, emotionally, physically, artistically. He elevated the male dancer's presence on screen. Before Kelly, the male dancer was elegant and refined. Think Fred Astaire. Kelly introduced athleticism, relatability, and emotional transparency. Post-Hollywood career. Guardian of dance on film. As the musical genre faded, Kelly transitioned into television specials, directing projects, documentaries about dance history, guest appearances in educational programming, advocacy for arts in public schools. He also took great care to preserve choreography, believing that dance, unlike music or film scripts, risks being lost to time without detailed documentation. A lifetime of honors. Though he never won a competitive Oscar, Kelly received an honorary Academy Award in 1952 for his contributions to choreography, a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute, the National Medal of Arts, numerous international honors. But for Kelly, accolades were secondary. His proudest legacy was his body of work. Why Gene Kelly endures for modern audiences. Kelly's films remain fresh for one simple reason: they celebrate joy. Whether he's splashing through puddles, leaping across a soundstage, or leaning into a romantic waltz, his movement communicates universal emotion, the exhilaration of being alive. Gene Kelly, the cinematic architect of joy, an ever deeper portrait. The formative years. A childhood that forged a revolutionary. While many stars of Hollywood's golden age were trained from childhood for show business, Gene Kelly's origins were markedly ordinary, and that ordinariness became central to his artistic identity. Born to a hard-working family in Pittsburgh, Kelly grew up during a period of rapid cultural change in America, industrial expansion, immigrant influence, and the growing popularity of urban sports. From these early environments, Kelly absorbed the rhythm of the street, the athleticism of working-class recreation, the emotional range of everyday life. These elements would later shape his signature movement style: open, powerful, democratic. The financial reality that drove him to dance during the Great Depression, the Kelly family's dance studio wasn't simply a dream, it was survival. Teaching classes kept the family afloat. Gene's early experience with the business side of the arts prepared him for Hollywood's demands. Managing finances, communicating with students and parents, designing choreography suitable for large classes, teaching taught him structure, responsibility, and discipline. It also showed him what everyday people look like in motion, a key influence on his choreographic philosophy. New York as a crucible of transformation. When Kelly arrived in Manhattan, Broadway was undergoing a renaissance. Dance was becoming increasingly expressive, theater was blending realism with musicality, and American culture was shifting toward modernism. Kelly entered this scene as a force of nature, athletic, charismatic, unapologetically physical. Directors were drawn to him because he broke the mold. He embodied a new kind of masculinity, one that merged confidence with sensitivity. His success in Pal Joey didn't just launch his career, it changed the expectations of what a Broadway leading man could be. Transitioning to Hollywood. A study in adaptability, Hollywood initially didn't know what to do with him. MGM had dancers. MGM had stars. But Kelly brought something different: a muscular energy, a contemporary presence, and a choreographer's brain. The turning point came when studio executives realized they weren't just hiring a dancer, they were hiring an innovator. Kelly wanted to rethink everything: camera angles, musical pacing, set design, character movement. He studied film technique obsessively. Within a few years, Kelly wasn't just starring in musicals. He was reshaping the grammar of film dance. Gene Kelly at work. A profile of his creative process: the rehearsal room. A demanding but inspiring leader, Kelly's rehearsals were legendary for their intensity. He demanded razor-sharp timing, emotional clarity, seamless transitions, physical endurance. Yet many dancers admired him because he worked just as hard, and often harder, than anyone else. He didn't sit and watch. He demonstrated. He sweated. He pushed himself until he was satisfied that the choreography told the right story. Debbie Reynolds, who had little dance experience before Singin' in the Rain, once described his rehearsals as blood, sweat, and tears, but acknowledged that he brought out her best. The pursuit of authenticity. Kelly's choreography always emerged from character. He asked, "What does this person want? How are they feeling at this moment? What movement expresses that emotion honestly?" This is why his dances never look like numbers. They look like expressions, bursts of life, joy, frustration, or love. Inventing cinematic movement. Kelly experimented constantly. Some of his innovations included filming dance on location to give scenes natural vitality, incorporating architectural elements, lampposts, stairs, railings, as dance partners, using slow motion and fast motion to heighten emotion, blending animation and live movement, choreographing to the environment rather than fitting the environment around the choreography. His artistic curiosity never dimmed, even when budgets were tight or producers were skeptical. His screen partnerships, intensity, respect, and magic with Sid Charisse and Kelly created some of the most sensual dance sequences in film history. Their styles contrasted beautifully: her long, balletic lines, his powerful grounded jumps. Together, they created a cinematic electricity few pairings have matched. With Debbie Reynolds, Reynolds was not a trained dancer when she joined Singin' in the Rain. Kelly pushed her to the limit. Their partnership was built on discipline and determination, resulting in one of the greatest musicals of all time. With Judy Garland, Garland's emotional openness gave Kelly something profound to respond to. Their collaborations were tender, playful, and deeply human. With Leslie Curran, trained by Roland Petit, brought an ethereal quality to Kelly's grounded athleticism. Their chemistry made An American in Paris poetic and hypnotic. The decline of the big Hollywood musical, context and consequence. By the late 1950s, Hollywood was shifting. Television was on the rise, audience tastes were changing. Big-budget musicals were becoming financially risky. This shift affected all musical stars, even icons like Kelly. Rather than resist the change angrily, Kelly adapted. He moved into directing, he embraced television, he promoted arts education, he preserved the legacy of dance on film. He understood that art forms evolve, but he also believed in preserving what made them great. Later life, the thinker behind the performer. As he aged, Kelly became something of a cultural philosopher. He gave interviews, wrote essays, and lectured on the importance of creativity, arts in education, historical preservation, the emotional language of movement. He became a respected elder statesman of dance, admired by younger generations who grew up watching his films on television. Aging with grace, Kelly faced health challenges later in life, but he remained articulate, humorous, and reflective. He often said his greatest joy wasn't stardom, but the fact that children continued to discover his films. The philosophical core of Gene Kelly's work, beneath every jump, spin, and smile, was a belief system. 1. Dance should speak to everyone. It shouldn't intimidate, it should invite. 2. Movement expresses emotion more powerfully than words. His characters transform when they dance. 3. Film should enhance dance, not restrict it. He wanted.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.